What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be finishing my 3-part series in which I teach you guys how to dominate using every single role in Marvel Rivals. Now today's video is going to be about the strategists. I did the vanguards and the duelists in part 1 and 2, so if you haven't seen those yet, I highly recommend you watch it. I'm going to leave the link right up here. If there's any other type of gaming / Marvel Rivals content you want to see me do, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll get to it as soon as I can. But until then, leave a like, subscribe, and let's cue that intro. Alright guys, so before we begin, I'm just going to quickly go over what the main job of the strategist is. So, strategists in Marvel Rivals are the healers and the heart of the team. They are the ones keeping everyone alive, making sure key abilities are timed perfectly, and enabling their team to outlast the enemy in every fight. Without a good strategist, the team falls apart quickly. But with a skilled strategist, any team can feel unstoppable. My first big tip is on staying alive and staying useful. Remember, you are the most important member of your team. It's important that you know how to stay alive, because if you die, the rest of the team cannot function properly. You need to stay behind your vanguards. Use them as a shield and play from cover. Remember, their job is to protect you and the rest of your team. So utilize that to your advantage. If you keep them alive, they will keep you alive. So make good friends with your vanguards. You should also avoid choke points. Duelists and vanguards will target you first. The whole point of a dive character is to dive the enemy backline and take out their healers. So you need to make sure that you're not making it easier for them by backing up into a corner and away from your team. You also need to be moving around with your team. Always stick with your allies for mutual protection. It's going to be a lot harder for those dive characters to kill you if you're surrounded by the rest of your team. If you can keep them alive, chances are they will try their best to keep you alive. My next tip is about maximizing your healing efficiency. Now, obviously, you're a healer. Your job is to heal. But you need to know who to heal, how much to heal, and when to heal. So first, you need to prioritize your targets. You should probably heal your vanguards first so they can keep tanking for you. Obviously, if your vanguard is full health, you don't need to go and heal him. But it's important to make sure that he stays alive so he can protect the rest of the team. You should also avoid overhealing. Conserve your abilities for critical moments. You don't need to throw all your healing abilities at the beginning of the fight, because then when they're all gone and the rest of the team is pushing, you're not going to have them in order to heal. You also need to balance your healing and your damage. Use your healing abilities, but you should also use damage / debuff abilities. For example, Cloak and Dagger can blind and do damage to the enemy team and can also switch and heal. So you need to find a good balance between healing and damaging. And you also need to manage your cooldowns. You don't want to just go in there and not have your abilities ready. Make sure that you're able to heal to the best of your abilities before going into a fight. Now, my next big tip is about ultimate usage and making game-changing plays. So, strategists have some of, if not the best ultimates in the game, but it's important to know when to use them and not to use them. So, you should be saving them for the big moments, such as team fights or right on the end of the game. If you notice that your team is trying to hold a point and you're all about to die, use your ultimate. It'll keep everyone alive and help you guys stall out the enemy team. You also need to counter enemy ultimates with your own. If you notice, for example, a squirrel girl is sending her squirrel tsunami after you, go ahead and use a mantis or a Luna Snow ultimate to keep the whole team alive through it. It won't kill them as long as they stay by you. You should also coordinate your team's ultimates with your own. Inform the team when your ult is ready. If you guys are ready to make a final push for the win, let them know that you have your ultimate to get them in there. You can use a Cloak and Dagger ult, a Mantis ult, a Luna Snow ult to just get into the objective and start a team fight. And if you have two supports, it's even better for one to use one to get into the fight and the other one can use one during the fight. And you also shouldn't be greedy. You need to be using your ult to save anyone, even if that's just one person. If you notice that it's just you and another guy on the point, go ahead and use it anyway. It doesn't matter if the rest of the team is not there. Keeping one person alive is better than everyone dying. My next tip is about knowing where to be in order to maximize your healing output. So it goes without saying that you don't want to be on the front lines leading the team or far away from the team not able to heal them, because then that just makes it worse for everyone. But even when you're together, you should know how the map is laid out and how to take advantage of it. Firstly, you need to know where the health packs are and use them for yourself if necessary. Sometimes supports aren't able to heal themselves, so it's important to know where the health packs are if you need a quick revive. You also need to use cover effectively. Stay protected from enemy fire. If you notice that you're getting bombarded with attacks, go ahead and hide behind a wall and get your heals from there, or hide behind your vanguards. Remember, you cannot die or the whole team will start to fall. You should also pre-heal before engagements. Start fights with everyone at full health. This also is pretty self-explanatory. You don't want to go into a fight when everyone is at half health. That is a massive disadvantage. And you also need to rotate smartly. Stay close to your allies without exposing yourself. Like I said earlier, make sure that you're staying in between your team or in the back. You don't want to be in the front or far away, or else you'll get picked off pretty easily and you won't be able to heal your team. Tip number 5 is going to be about communicating with your team and leading them to victory. As a strategist, you're in the back line, so you oversee everything. So it's important to communicate with your team and let them know what you see in order to win. Firstly, you should be calling out enemy positions. Alert teammates of flanking enemies. If you notice that you're getting dove on by the enemy duelists or they're throwing too many projectiles your way, let your team know so they can drop back and protect you. The job of the enemy duelists is to kill the backline, and if you're dead, your team will fall apart quickly. You also need to announce your healing cooldowns. Let your team know if you can't heal them immediately. The last thing you want is for your team to dive in thinking they have the advantage in the fight and they're not getting healed to the best of your abilities. You need to coordinate engagements as well. Sync your healing abilities with team fights. Like I said, you need to make sure that your cooldowns are ready before the team goes in for the fight. So let your team know beforehand that you're not ready to go in yet. And that way, when you are ready, everyone has the best shot at winning. And you need to encourage teamwork. Keep the team focused and motivated. Obviously, your job is to keep them alive with your healing, but it's also important that you make sure that their mind is in the right headspace to win the game. The last thing you want is a tilted team member that is actively selling your chances to win. My next tip is about adaptability and changing your playstyle as needed. So as a strategist main, you need to learn not just one character. You need to learn all the characters and know who fits each moment perfectly. So to do that, you need to adjust the teammates' playstyles, support aggressive or defensive plays as needed. If you notice you have a lot of dive characters on your team, maybe it's good to go cloak and dagger so your auto aim can heal them while they're bouncing in and out of a fight. If you have more defensive type players on your team, like a Namor for example, maybe go Mantis so you can give them damage buffs and healing buffs at the same time. You also need to counter enemy strategies. Choose strategists with mobility or self-sustain when targeted. People like Rocket Raccoon, Cloak and Dagger, Luna Snow are really good at getting away from tough situations. So it's important to pick someone who can get out of a sticky situation, come back and get great heals. And you also should swap if needed, changing heroes if your current pick isn't effective. Sometimes you don't get your pick right the first time, and that's okay. The important part is that you know that you're not getting the pick right and you should switch instead of just hoping that it works out, because chances are it definitely won't. Okay guys, so now I'm going to give some hero specific examples on how each healer excels in each type of healing role. So if you're looking for a sustained healer who is consistent with their long-term healing, I would go with Mantis, Luna Snow, and Jeff the Landshark. For Mantis, she excels at keeping teammates alive with Healing Flower, a burst heal that also applies healing over time. You need to keep this ability on frontline allies taking constant damage. Her Sleep ability could take an enemy out of the fight, buying time for your team. Use it defensively when pressured or offensively to set up a kill. For Luna Snow, her healing works best when attached to teammates who are actively fighting. Don't waste it on someone disengaging. Her Ice Skating passive to reposition quickly is really good, and you should be using it to stay safe while healing. And her ultimate can either heal or amplify ally damage. Choose based on the situation. If your team is healthy, you should be boosting their damage instead of healing them. As for Jeff, he thrives in brawls. If your team is playing aggressively, stick close and provide healing while dealing damage. His ability to heal himself while healing others makes him one of the hardest healers to take down. Use this to your advantage and keep fights prolonged. Now, if you're looking for a more tactical healer with great utility, such as shielding buffs and debuffs, I would go with Invisible Woman or Rocket Raccoon. Now, for Invisible Woman, unlike traditional healers, she prevents damage and reverses it with her shields. You need to time your shields to absorb burst damage from enemy ultimates and attacks. She can use her invisibility to reposition and keep herself alive while scouting enemy movements. This makes her one of the safest healers in the game. She is also great for diving teams. Pair her with high mobility heroes to support their aggression while ensuring they don't get burst down. Now for Rocket Raccoon, you need to aim his healing grenades at areas where multiple teammates are grouped together for maximum efficiency. Rocket also has one of the most reliable ways to bring teammates back into the fight. You need to stay aware of fallen allies and time your revives wisely. It is a very large cooldown, so you need to know when the best time to use it is. You should also take advantage of his high mobility. He has small size and fast movement and is not an easy target to hit while you're healing. And finally, if you're looking for a more hybrid type of healer, which is good at dealing damage and healing, I would go with Loki, Cloak and Dagger, and Adam Warlock. Now for Loki, his healing abilities often come with trickster elements, such as his clones and being able to disappear. With his clones, you need to use them to mislead opponents while keeping your allies healthy. Wherever you shoot, your clones will shoot, so it's great for damage and healing. He also is good at escaping and repositioning. He's able to teleport with his clones and swap places, and he's able to go invisible and leave a clone behind, which can distract the enemies. Now for Cloak and Dagger, Dagger provides healing, while Cloak disrupts the enemies. You need to use both of them effectively to control your engagements. Their abilities work best when placed on allies who will stay in the fight rather than those who frequently disengage. And for Adam Warlock, his healing isn't as frequent as the other supports, so you need to make sure to use it at the right moments to maximize value. Adam Warlock can act as a secondary DPS while providing healing. Balance between the two roles based on your team's needs. Depending on the match, you may need to play more defensively or aggressively. Adjust based on how your team is performing. So in conclusion, each strategist in Marvel Rivals offers unique strengths and requires different strategies to maximize their effectiveness. By understanding and leveraging their individual capabilities, you could provide invaluable support to your team and lead them to victory. I am confident that with the tips I have given you today, you won't just be able to win your games as a strategist, but dominate them every single time. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope you liked the video. This was a fun series to make, and I hope I was able to give you guys some great tips on how to dominate using each role in the game. I have some video ideas that I'm cooking up right now. If there's any other ideas that you guys want me to do, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I can. But until then, like always, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.